こんばんは。今日は、ハーストーリーっていうやつをやっていきます。これもね、フレンドの方のちょっとおすすめで、まあずっとね、サバイバル系っていうか、バトル FPS とか、偏ってたんで、ちょっといろいろやってみようかなと思って、チャレンジしてみようかなと思います。なんか、推理系なのかな。多分感覚鈍いんで、全くわかんないままずっと続く可能性があるんですけども、ちょっとやってみようかな。ちょっと待って。設定だけします。ああ、いやー、今までだったら全くね、そういうインディーズとか、ほぼやんないので、どんな感じなのか全く想像はつかないんですけど、これ、ジョイスティックっていうか、これ効くんかな。ちょっとやってみようか。ちょっと待ってね。反応してくれるかどうか。さっきなんかプリセットでね、あったんですよね。コントローラーが。だから効くかなと思ったんだけど、ダメかな。ちょっと待ってください。一瞬切り替えます。とりあえずこれでやってみて、動かなければ、キーボードでやるか。前にね、マイクがあるから、できれば、ジョイスティックっていうか、コントローラーでやりたいんだけども、あ、できなさそうやな。まあ、しゃあないか。OK。じゃあ、とりあえずこのままキーボードでやろうかなと思います。あれ、音流れてるか？ OK。ログインメール。あ、入力できるんだ。ひょっとしてこれなんかメモを取ったりとかしなきゃいけないのは、とりあえず見てみるか。セッションに保存。とりあえず再生してみるか。
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help?
え、これより。
Yeah, that's me. But February, that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
待て待て。
I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other, just that. Stories.
どういうサラコだ。 あすみさん、こんばんは。確かに、何でしたっけ？ターミネーターのサラコだ。もうなんかいろいろ推理走らせなきゃいけないような感じか？まあ、わからんけど、とりあえず見るわ。えあ、ここ閉じちゃったらもう終わりなんだ。インスタントファイルに。はやべえ、こういうの全部読まないとわかんないのかな？なかなかシュールな感じやね。リアリーリード。情報開放に沿って申請し、ゲストとしてのアクセス権を取得しておいたよ。移動できるんだ。1個のファイルが見つかりません。ゴミ箱。めちゃくちゃ怪しいゴミが残ってんじゃん。グレイスハック。置けない。これは一体ただの、ただのミニゲームこれ。紫をひたすら倒す。うん。これになんか意味あんのかな？あ、やばい。ここ取らせでしょ。えこれログオフするとどうなんの？またオープニング？始め方がマジでわかんないんだけど。
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help? Yeah, that That's me. But February, I mean, that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder? I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other, just that. Stories.
マジです。進め方わかんないぞ。なになになにアーカイブいろいろあるの？あ、いろいろ出てきた。
Simon Smith. He works at Ernst Brothers Glass. They do windows, all kinds of glass. Simon does the more special work, mirror making, feature windows, artistic things, really beautiful things. It's the Rockington Arms, the Rock. It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan. There's some other regulars there that Simon likes to drink with, and the barmaid they're having sometimes, Helen. Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks.
あの日を飲むの？やばい、全然頭に入ってこねえぞ。
Yes, there's an Amstrad one. No one uses it for very much. There's a printer so you can write letters on it. Simon sometimes plays games, you know, climb the tower, save the princess, that kind of thing. Simon isn't the type to run off or do anything crazy. Someone must have done something to him, or there must have been some kind of accident. So what do we do next? Thanks. Please find Simon. I love him so much. It's the Rockington Arms, the Rock. It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan. There's some other regulars there that Simon likes to drink with, and the barmaid they're having sometimes, Helen. Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks.
これひたすら何こうさ、検索していくってこと？
So
マジか。
it was Friday evening. We had an argument. He left. On Saturday, he didn't come back. I waited all day. He was supposed to go help Eric out with something on the Saturday afternoon. They had a job. He didn't show. So Eric was ringing on the phone. I checked at the Rock, that's our local. They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. It just isn't like him at all. Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come and see you. His parents haven't heard anything either. Oh God, I don't know.
ヘレン。
I mean, I guess the Rock.
あ、違
We've
うんだ。
spoken to everyone there. Someone must have seen where he went. I don't know. So many things could have gone wrong. Yeah, I had to let myself in. The door locks if it swings too.
閉めたロック。そのロックにかかったの
Yes.
か。
I always pull it shut and then lock the bigger lock with the key. No. I think he spoke
い
to
や、
Helen.
ちょっとお
She
う、
said
ふ
he
さ
was
こさ
so
ん、
bad
こんばんは。
but I'm not sure what else he
ちょっと
said.
謎です、まだ。
He likes Helen. He likes
とりあえずなんかサイモンっていう人が こうなんか今消息不明になってるか殺されたかで、その警察署のなんかアーカイブ見ながらなんか推理して進めていくみたいな、そんなや
I
つっ
think he
ぽいです
spoke to
ね。
Helen. She said he was upset about her argument, but I'm not sure what else he said. He likes Helen. He likes blondes.
ええ、そうなんだ。グレイス。シュールすぎやな。いろいろな経緯で事件の全貌を。
Yeah, that's me. But February, that was months ago.
どれだったっけ、さっき下から上か。
So it was Friday evening. We had an argument. He left.
これ
On
は一
Saturday,
人で
he
ゆっ
didn't
くり
come
や
back.
る
I waited
や
all
つかもしれ
day.
んね。なんかその配信
He
で
was
やるっ
supposed
てい
to
う
go help
や
Eric
つ。
out with something on the Saturday afternoon. They had a job, but he didn't show. So
エリッ
Eric
クで
was
検
really
索してみる
upset.
か。
I checked at the Rock. That's our
ザ・ロッ
local.
ク。
They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. It just isn't like him at all. Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come and see you. His parents haven't heard anything either.
おお、エリック結構いるじゃん。
He was wearing a shirt, with a blue turtleneck shirt and jeans. He has a watch. It's a really nice one. That was a gift from his boss, Eric. He had his coat, a long grey duffel coat, like Paddington Bear. He would have taken that with him. It's not in the house. Yes, there's a car that we share, a Cavalier,
キャバ
and the
リエ。
van he uses for work. It's owned by Eric, but we look after it. Both of them are there now, parked in the street. I'm not sure about the keys for the van. I can look for you when I get back. Yes, that would be in his wallet. It's a Visa, a silver one. He doesn't like to spend money he doesn't have, so he usually pays with cash, but Eric convinced him to get one.
この人誰よ。
Eric was like an uncle to him. They were pretty close. They spend a lot of time with each other, especially when they have to go to conferences. Have you met his wife, Diane?
新しい人が出てきた。
Diane is really nice. She helps out with the glaziers, organises the Christmas party, that sort of thing. They have 2 kids, really sweet kids. She used to look out for me when I worked there. Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, you must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then. Not really. He would go to the pub.
これで全貌が分かってくる
was there, but no one ever really came back to the house. Sometimes Eric, his boss, and his wife would come over for dinner. That would be us returning the favour. Diane is a really good cook, into her trendy ingredients. And the last time Simon cooked something off MasterChef, he got the recipe off CFAX, and I did my Lloyd Grossman bit, commenting from the sidelines. I had to find fennel from the supermarket. Have you ever eaten fennel?
なんか実績解除したフェンネルでどういうことや。弾いてくれるの。
Simon and Eric arguing? No, I can't imagine they'd be arguing.
94年7月1日か。
Unless it was something to do with work.
時期もあるって頭
Maybe
入れな
Simon
いけ
was
ない
being
か
too
な。
much of a perfectionist. But I don't know. You should ask Diane.
マジか。結構グラスコーであるな。
I got in the car and I drove. I just kept driving north. Just kept going, just wanted to get as far away as I could. When I finally stopped, I was all the way up in Glasgow. I was so tired. I just had to sleep.
シュールだ。
Yes. I got to Glasgow, I was exhausted, so I pulled over and slept in the car. I woke up because a rubbish truck went past. I got some petrol, bought a coffee and a pastry, tried calling someone from a payphone, and then headed back.
何やってんだ
I
ろう
don't
こ
think
れ。
so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning. When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving badly.
ああ。
And I hit a taxi. Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving license on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine. The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car.
フェンネルはこれ。フェンネル喫茶できたのこれだけか。もうなんか手がかりなくなっちゃったんだけど。病院でいかがった。
Asked the hospital. I don't see how it's hard. We've established I was in Glasgow when he was killed. You've spoken with the hospital.
アリバイの話やね。
It's like I told you before. I drove. I took the car and drove. I don't have my own car, but I have a spare set of keys. I just drove north. I wanted to think, put some space between me and them. Everything I told you before is true. I stopped at Glasgow. I was tired, exhausted. I pulled out and I hit a car.
病院
My
行
car
っ
was
て
okay, but I was worried about the baby, so I went to A&E to get the okay. Everything was fine. Slept in the car. When I woke, I tried to call Hannah from a payphone. She wasn't answering. And then I decided to drive back. I had decided that she she was more important to me than Simon.
おお、いっぱい出てきた。
My name is Hannah.
サイモンっていう人が殺されたっぽいです。
Is palindrome. It reads the same backwards as forwards.
多分旦那
It
さ
doesn't
ん
work from here, though. It's not quite symmetrical, but well, you get the idea.
なんか分かったら
Hannah
キーワー
Smith.
ド
I
言っ
live at
てくれた
31
時それで
Gladstone
検索
Street.
しますわ。グラッドストーン。なんか固有名詞ばっかり拾ってますけど、一応病院とかでもね、なんか引っかかってましたね。ちなみにこれの見方は94年の6月30日です。アメリカっていうか海外こういう感じですね。めんどくさいけど。イブ結構登場人物増えてきたな。
Yes, my name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry. Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead. But I wasn't. She read all this
なんか言
stuff
ってる
in
ことはおか
diary.
しくなってきたぞ、だんだん。
Amazing what people will
何
admit
二
on
重
paper.
人重人格かなんかはあ、なんつったっけフローレンス。
She recognized me from the window. She told me to come inside, and she hid me. They had made the attic into a place where Hannah could play. There was a dollhouse. She hid me up there. No one else ever went into the attic. It was her place. Florence took me home with her. Mother hadn't been expecting twins and had a healthy baby. I guess she was just happy for Florence to clean up. Take away the evidence that this was anything but a happy occasion. Florence raised me in her home. I never left it. She kept me out of sight. It wasn't odd for people to see a midwife with a baby, carrying in supplies, washing nappies, that sort of thing.
まあ確かにちょっとイブで検索してみないとね。
I grew up looking out of my window and seeing her
いつもママ
across the road. I thought it was like a reflection in the mirror. She was me.
なんか二重人格っていうかなんか変ですよね。
Florence was a warm, kind person.
育てられた。
But she was broken.
花でしょ。子供？
When I found her diary, I also
いや、
found
そういうのやめてください、本当に彼女
with
が。
other stuff in it. Older papers,
ホラーに持っていかんで。
letters, that kind of thing. Her story wasn't there. So I never really spoke to her about it. I was far too young to really understand, I guess. I just put it together later, once I was older. She had loved children, planned to have a large family, but her husband died in the war. And that was back when you married for life. She never felt like she could marry again. Isn't that strange? She was a widow from her 20s. But, I mean, I guess it was different then. You know, you married for life and she felt she could never marry again. I guess it was harder, a war widow. One of the dead. I don't know, maybe there was more to it than that. I don't really know. No, it was just me and her. Eve was the name they were going to call their first child. They talked about it and were going to try when he came back. Florence's family had a history of firstborn girls, so they were convinced it was going to be a girl. It's hard to know if this is all true. These are stories I remember, that I read when I was a child. Maybe I misread, maybe I misunderstood. Sometimes it's hard to remember what happened last week. Well, my friend Eve.
友達のイブ。
She was a friend from when I was a kid. And she was always more popular with the boys, and I used to hate her for it. I mean, really hate her sometimes. Yes. We'd fight. We fought on the beach once, and I held Eve's head underwater. There was no one else around. It was at the far end of the beach, and I held her head under, and I kept it under. And for a moment, I just wanted to kill her and watch her drown. But that was it. It was just a moment. We made up afterwards. It was a love-hate relationship. A police station. Yeah. When I was young, we ran away on my birthday.
誕生日に
Bob Dylan was playing.
誰だよボビー・ディランって。
We could break into his tour bus and have him take us with him. The taxi driver we paid to drop us off.
そんな昔に戻る意味あるのかな。
Pitched a bit here and there to pay for the fare. He was suspicious because we were so young, so he told the police. So they came and picked us up and took me back to Portsmouth. My mum picked me up from the station. But I blamed everything on my friend Eve. So my parents let me off. My mother called me Eve. Yeah, when I was at school.
結構いろんなアーカイブに引っかかるな、ちゃんと。
It was sort of an extended family thing. My dad used to work there, my mum worked there before I was born. I took care of paperwork, filing, typing out invoices, that kind of thing. It was a good job for a girl back then. I didn't work a till or anything though. I was quite shy, so I wouldn't have liked to have worked a till. It was after dinner. I'd spoken to Sam's parents on the phone. I looked up for an early night and I suddenly had this thought. I think it was something his mum had said. She'd been speaking about old stuff, sad stuff, about when we lived there, about the baby. There's some boxes in the cellar, nursery stuff we never needed and I never had the heart to throw out. And I suddenly remembered that when I'd looked down there the week before, those boxes, that pile was in the wrong place. I went cold all over. I went down there with a torch and went straight to the back, and that's when I saw the bin bags. Pulled them open, saw the body.
Yeah.
I screamed, and that's when I called the police. Okay. There's a girl and she's staring out of the window. She's sad?
だと思いますけどね。違うのかな。
She's looking out the window because her mother won't let her out. I would have been a good mother. I was young, but I would have been a good mother. She was a girl, by the way, the baby. We were going to call her Sarah. Simon wanted to call her Ava after his nana, but I didn't want her to have a symmetrical name.
なんだっけ、ボブディラン。ああ、確かに。確かにそうっすね。おっしゃる通りだわ。
Thing was wrong. The bags.
よく覚えてますね、坂さん。その通りですわ。そう言われてればそう。
From our kitchen, you can probably check that. We never go into the cellar. It's just a place we put things we don't need. Dad used to grow mushrooms there.
キノコ。
The bags were taped up. I think it was parcel tape, but I think it was ours. Well, fine, considering. I got back into the house today, and that was weird, knowing your people had been there through my things. It's like I've been burgled. I mean, worse, obviously. I don't know. I haven't lived in the cellar yet. They sent a cleaner in, as good as new, he said. But they had to throw some stuff out. Couldn't get the blood out. And I'm still waiting to hear from the coroner so we can get a date set for the funeral. It's going to be a cremation. So, it happened very quickly. We hardly had to talk to each other. We agreed almost silently. The baby was what mattered. We'd help each other. We cleaned up. We bagged up the broken mirror, her clothes. They're gone. We took him down to the cellar. We knew we had an alibi, and we wanted the body to be found later. We wanted to have suspicion of
何
us,
急にい
so
きな
we
り言って
could
ん
then
だ。
disprove it, rather than have it linger. Better to keep the body in the house than risk being seen with it. The watch, that was my touch, to make sure the alibi stuck.
何なんかいきなり自白始めてねえかな。えあ、何なんか画面になんか一瞬映ったぞ、今。怖っ。は
It happened very quickly. We hardly had to talk to each other. We agreed almost silently. The baby was what
私た
mattered.
ち、
We'd help each other.
イブと自分ってこと？
We cleaned up. We bagged up the broken mirror.
一人でやったん
Her
でしょ？
clothes. They're gone.
二重人格か。
We took him down to the cellar. We knew we had an alibi, and we wanted the body to be found later.
確かにホラーでいい。
We wanted
今
to
びっ
have
くりしたよ、
suspicion
ちょっ
of
と。
us,
ドワッ
so
とし
we
ちゃっ
could
た。
then disprove it, rather than have it linger. Better to keep the body in the house than risk being seen with it. The watch, that was my touch, to make sure the alibi stuck.
2回目は出なかった。いやいや、怖いから。結構血だけでいっぱいあるな、おい。
Okay?
何 ?7 月の何がしには
Have you
も
blood
う
before?
自
You
白
need
す
to
ん
take
だ
that。few records? Nothing like this has ever happened to me before. The blood. It's probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me. From when I woke up. Okay. I woke up. Simon was already up, and he made me birthday breakfast of eggs Benedict. We both had to go to work, so we saved presents till later. I got to work, had some birthday cake, children sang me happy birthday. Then I came home. The birthday meal was a takeaway, and Simon gave me his present, which I didn't mind. And after that, we talked about the baby. It turned into a big argument. Simon left. I was furious. I wanted to get as far away as I could and get some space to think. So I left. Like I said before, it was 3, something like that. I walked in, saw Simon. He was on the floor of the living room. His throat had been cut. There was a lot of blood. Yeah, he was dead.
おお、なんか一瞬出たな。やけん、今のは二重人格のもう一人の自分なんじゃね。だから、やった人格と、なんだっけ、なんか見届けてる人格と、考えすぎかな。そういう差し迫ったあれではないか。
Simon is 6 foot, darkish blonde hair, average build. He's clean shaven. If his beard grows, it goes ginger, so he shaves it. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with ginger hair. I bought a photo. They said a spring photo. This was taken last year on holiday in Rome. It's the best one I have.
ローマとかさ、検索した方がみ
We
んな
spent
す
the
ごい
wedding night in a hotel in Brighton. It would have been too much to do more. We were saving for the baby. It was wonderful to be in a hotel, away from home, just alone together. Since then, we've always tried to get away for our holiday. We couldn't afford our own place. Simon dropped out of school, went full-time at the Glaziers. That was Eric's generosity. We moved in with his mum and dad. They had a spare room for us and the baby, if it came. It was a nice change, time to myself, living there for those months, full of hope. It happened very quickly.
4月7日にはそういう話してんだよね。
Silently. The baby was what mattered. We'd help each other. We cleaned up. We bagged up the broken mirror, her clothes. They're gone. We took him down to the cellar. We knew we had an alibi, and we wanted the body to be found later. We wanted to have suspicion on us, so we could then disprove it, rather than have it linger. Better to keep the body in the house than risk being seen with it. The watch, that was my touch, to make sure the alibi stuck.
Yeah. やばい、なんか何検索していいか分かんなくなっちゃった。
A shirt, with a blue turtleneck shirt and jeans. He has a watch. It's a really nice one. That was a gift from his boss, Eric. He had his coat, a long grey duffel coat, like Paddington Bear. He would have taken that with him. It's not in the house. Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, you must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then.
「最初の5個しか検索できないんだ。映像字幕ハンチングレアなんちゃこれ面白いな。複合的にね。ああ、はいはい。
Mum and Dad had never had any reason to notice. They were always busy. If Hannah was eating a lot, they didn't mind. She didn't put on any weight. That girl has a healthy appetite. If they heard us talking in the attic, they just thought it was Hannah playing one of her games, and that Eve was our imaginary friend. Once, she was already up and dressed and ready to go to school, and I snuck down for a piss. Mum saw me in my underwear, she went mad. Get dressed this instant! So I ducked into our bedroom, and seconds later, out came Hannah, dressed and ready. My mum was amazed. They said it was food poisoning. There was something in the food they ate. My dad liked to pick mushrooms, grow them too. They said it was the mushrooms. It was hard to believe. Death caps. They have a skirt around the cap. My dad taught me that. But, the police had no reason to think it was suspicious. They lived alone, and no one had any reason to hurt them. Must think it's very cool that their dad is a police detective. Well, she has a knife. She's been cooking, I guess. She's been cooking him his favourite meal. She's his wife. He's asleep and she doesn't want to wake him because he's ill. That's why she's sad. Because he's ill and he might die. It's kind of a sad story, so I'm not sure how it ends. Mother wanted me to grow my hair long, but I kept cutting it myself. I wanted to look like my reflection. She always had short hair when she was little. Mother would hide the scissors, but I would find a way. Cut it with a bread knife, something like that. My reflection would always leave her house and go on adventures, but I never could. Mother taught me at home, and I had books and TV. Oh, TV was magical, but it was only on when it wanted to be, so I spent a lot of time reading books. No, it's okay. The other detective has just gone to get me, Mum. The bruise. I have a really fast metabolism, so stuff like that just comes and goes. I don't know if there's much more that I can tell you that I haven't already told the other policemen. I found the body. This other person doesn't exist. I don't know what the blonde wig is, but it could be anything. Have you looked at the cat flap? Yes. The first time we saw each other, it was strange. We both realised at the same moment, I think. We must have seen each other before, but there was this instant when we first realised it wasn't a reflection. The reflection was staring back. I think I was 5. It was my birthday. My reflection was wearing a party hat and waving. I knew what party hats were from books. And it suddenly occurred to me, today must be my birthday. I waved back and we just spent ages waving at each other and copying each other's movements. I wanted to see my reflection. I thought that if I touched her,
多分花とイブだと思いますね。でイブが結構ち
we
ょっ
would
と
become one.
アグレッシブな方で、花は落ち着いてる方なのか、逆かな。
The fairy tale was over, the witch was dead, and I'd be restored to my rightful place.
おお、なんか出てきた。赤の自分と白い自分両方出るってことですよね。赤色のもさっき一瞬出たんですよ。なんで検索すればいいのかなとは。もうでも革新的なこと大体言ってるよね。でもなんだっけ、もう気づいた時には首から血を流してて倒れてました。でそこから、多分なんかこう死体っていうか袋に入れて地下に入れたのはイブか花かどっちか分かんないけど、まあそれをやったんだけど、でも本当にこうその自分がやったかどうかっていうところはまだはっきりしないなと思って。うん。あ
I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other, just that. Stories. Really? Okay. Here's the rest. Oh, they laid a body on the dock to
何でもやるな。
wind and the
花かイブかどっちかなんじゃないですか。
with a fiddle came walking by. Oh, the dreadful
あ、3人いんのかな。
and he made a fiddle bow of her long hair. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made a fiddle bow of her long blonde hair. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made fiddle pegs of her finger bows.
なんだそれ。
Oh, the wind and
めちゃく
the
ちゃやなこの
rain.
曲。
Yes, he made fiddle pegs from her finger bows. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle out of her breastbone. Oh, the wind and rain. The sound could pierce
ああ、言ってた言ってた。
the stone. Oh, the
なんか2人ね存在するような感じで言ってたけど、
but the only tune that the fiddle could play.
双子？
Oh, the wind and
双子
the
かな。
rain.
わかんねえ
Yes, the
な。なんかお母さん
only
が
tune
なんだっけ、早く準備しなさいみたいな言った後にすぐ部屋から 準備した自分が出てきたからびっくりしてたって言ってたよね。一人は家の外に出られて一人は部屋の中にいたみたいな。
Anything you sing may be used as evidence against you.
ああ、すげえ。そんな風に思ったんだ。すごいな。そこまでは分かんなかったっす。お、双子でいろいろ出てきてますよ。
Twins? Really? Are you really asking me that question?
おお、なんかまた出た。怖え。
Are you out of your mind? Twins? There were always princes and princesses. They were the special people, more important than the other characters in their stories. We knew we were like that. Twins. Magical. We were the princesses. We had a poster of Princess Diana.
でもこの画面映ってんのがさ、この名の人っぽかったじゃん。
Had a pride of place. And underneath
自分で警察のなんかパソコンを見てんのか
when
な。
her engagement was announced, we were obsessed with everything she did. And later, when her life went so bad, we felt for her. Her divorce last year just kind of drew a line under things.
なんかいろいろあるな、おい。15個もあるよ、クリップが結婚だけで。
A long time. We got married when I was 17. Childhood sweethearts. Something like that. And you married detective.
俺あれやろ、後ろにこの後ろに隠すためのやつだよね。複合検索か。
Both our parents had a big powwow. We weren't even in the room. And they decided we should get married. I guess it was probably awful to watch, but I enjoyed it. It felt like it was just me and Simon for that moment. Just the two of us. Yeah, we were 17. It was a nice wedding, people said. Simon looked very handsome in the photos. His parents paid for everything, but he's an only child, so it was
あれ
important to
本
them.
当だ。
It was what they called a shotgun wedding.
あれ今ま
But
で
if
な
you
か
looked
った
at
っ
the photos,
け。
you couldn't tell. The dress was beautiful. It looked like Princess Diana's. The train wasn't quite as long though. There's a great photo of the bridesmaid helping to carry it out of the car.
めちゃめちゃあれやね。あ、この辺のやつとか。あ、この青い服の時はあるのか。あ、確かこれはない
Eric was like
ね。
an uncle to him. They were pretty close. They spend a lot of time with each other, especially when they have to go to conferences. Have you met his wife, Diane? Simon was very moral about that sort of thing. He wouldn't just walk out there and sleep with anyone. He wasn't that kind of guy. He took his marriage very seriously. No. The
3
parents
月7日の動画見るのが怖いんだけど。
After the wedding, Hannah moved in with his parents. There was no way I could follow, so we were separated again. I stayed in the attic. It was hard. It's like I suddenly didn't exist. I would sneak out, but in case anyone recognized me, I started wearing a wig. Hannah and I would meet up in the park. I was trying to get pregnant, but I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't do it with anyone we knew, so it was sex with strangers, drunk guys I'd met in clubs, parks and alleyways.
なんかめちゃくちゃな話になってきたぞ。
I was 17. It felt like I was being punished. But it was Hannah who had betrayed us. I had to stop when one of the guys gave me an STD. When we met up, it was disturbing. For the first time, my reflection, she didn't look like me. She was fatter, flushed. If anything, I was getting skinnier. I found it hard to look sometimes. We talked about what to do. Was it time to become our own people? I mean, that seemed like the right thing to do, but neither of us wanted it. We agreed that her and Simon would get their own place as soon as possible, and then I could move in. And that was the plan.
大変だね。サイモンは52個もあるんだ。なるほど。うわ。そういうことですね。
Differences? She's a better driver than me. She passed the test for us.
そうかもしれない。白のゴーストと赤のゴーストっていうか映り込むのがあるんで、多分そう2人映ってますね、時々。一度なんか交互に出てるのはありました。
She was especially shy around boys. If Hannah liked a boy, I would have to pursue him. It was that way with Carl.
誰で変わる
I met him first. She had such a crush. I let him take my virginity after a night that his band had played at. It got difficult. When I was with Carl, we would have sex, but Hannah couldn't let him see she was a virgin. She had lots of excuses. After a while, we decided that I should take Hannah's virginity. It's not that different to a bruise, pulling a tooth, a graze. We used a hairbrush.
何の話だよ。
After that, we took it in turns, though. I was always the one who seduced the boys. Until Simon. Hannah was so smitten with Simon. She started getting jealous, didn't want to share. Even the first date. We went to see Tom Cruise at the Old Odeon. We both went, kept changing places in the toilet. We only had one best dress, so we had to keep swapping clothes. Must have thought we had terrible bladder problems. The next date, it was my turn. At the end, I let him kiss me. But that was it. We didn't want another Carl on our hands, and the Ouija board had said to hold back. After that, it was Hannah's turn, and she slept with him. Broke the rules. Deliberately broke the rules. She wanted to be the first to sleep with him. I mean, that's when she got pregnant. From that one time.
おお。
Hannah had a miscarriage. This was late in the pregnancy and it left her infertile. Felt like the universe had corrected its course. We were aligned again. But Hannah and Simon were still living with his parents.
今この人はイブの方かな。
Simon had a job at the Glaziers now. Derek had given him a full-time position after he left school. And then what are you doing talking about Eve?
確かになんかイブがまた別のやつなのかな。サイモンが52個あるけんね。
It's all that matters, really. The baby. Simon's dead, but the baby, that's how he will live on. Our baby.
おお。
When beautiful people died, we always felt like it was a sign. You remember Princess Grace? Grace Kelly? She died in a car crash the year before we met Simon. We used a Ouija board to speak to her, and that gave us the power to find him. That's what we thought
そ
then.
の人も死んだんかい。
That people who died tragically leave some kind of magic behind. We used to share dreams. We used to wake up and write them down in our diaries immediately and compare them. Was he my first? No need to be so coy. No, he wasn't my first. That would have been Carl. He was a local boy in a band. He was a bit of a shit, but he was sexy. We were 15. No, I was 15. Carl was older, 17, I think. I was really into him, regardless of how he actually behaved. Lots of drunken teenage sex. We did it in a church once. It's stupid. So he got tired of us and we split up after about 6 months. It was sad, but those early experiences, they help you realise who's really important to you, you know? Family. Family. So, Carl fucked off, and then there were other boys here and there, and then Simon. When beautiful people died, we always felt like it was a sign. You remember Princess Grace? Grace Kelly? She died in a car crash the year before. His body didn't look real. And his throat. It looked like his throat had been cut. And I didn't see his glasses. He has these thick glasses. It doesn't always work. Yeah. 1984 was an awful year in the end. We were living at Doug and Eleanor's. I lost the baby at the end of spring and my parents died in the summer. It was a hot summer, a heat wave. So when they discovered the bodies, it was just awful. Because of the circumstances, them dying together like that, they brought in a lot of police. A forensic entomologist. I had to look that up. It was because of the heat. It's just awful. Yeah. 1984 was an awful year in the end. We were living at Doug and Eleanor's. I lost the baby at the end of spring and my parents died in the summer. It was a hot summer, a heat wave. So when they discovered the bodies, it was just... We were living at Doug and Eleanor's. I lost the baby in the heat. Yeah. I've been round to Doug and Eleanor's and they're very worried. I feel sorry for them. I got a job to contribute, you know. Doug knew someone and I got a job as a dinner lady at the primary school. They said it didn't matter if I could cook or not, just don't poison the kids. So you see, it's always been complicated between me and Simon. It's never just been the two of us, there's always been pressure. I hoover, I dust every week.
髪型で単純に
I once asked Eleanor how often I should dust and she said, if people
見分
ask,
けていい
tell
ん
them
か
to
な。
do it once a week, but every few weeks is okay.
いや、それがわかんないです。なんか結構昔の話っぽいんで、
When I was there, she was hoovering every day.
一緒に住んでた人っていうところまでしかわかんない
You
です
know how
ね。
that
そ
generation
の
is
花
living with a
と
brave front.
もう一人この人かな。
She has secret stashes of cigarettes. Doug doesn't even know she smokes. When I was there, I saw her. She has these sort of porcelain vases, ornamental,
もう一
next to
人
the Reader's
3人目が
Digest
なんかいるように感じだ。確かに。
cigarettes inside. And she still has them. I mean, last time I was there, I looked in a vase. There was a fresh pack. I mean, all those years of marriage, and she still has a secret like that. Okay. I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I had to park down the end of the road. Walked up, knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag and unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. You can tell because the key doesn't turn when you try to turn it to the left. I walked in, Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes in the shoe rack. I shouted out. I walked straight into the kitchen because he usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper, but he wasn't there. I touched the kettle, it was cold. I looked quickly in the living room, nothing. So I walked upstairs to the bedroom and he wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. I had a shower. The phone rang whilst I was in the shower. I didn't answer it. I think it was Eric. Then I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, though I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. This time I spoke to him. Then I called Doug and Eleanor. And then I decided to come and see you.
親かな。
Don't know. Yes. I speak with Eleanor at least once a day. Not that there's anything much to say. It's more just... I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I parked down.
それが分かんないですよね。
I walked up to the house. I knocked on the door. No answer. I took my keys out of my bag, unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. I could tell because the key wouldn't turn when I tried to turn it to the left. I walked in.
結構前の話
Simon's
でした
coat
もんね。
wasn't on the peg.
1980何とかって言ってたもんね。
I shouted out for him. I walked
グ
straight into
レー
the
スのことか
kitchen.
な。
He
グレー
usually
スも
sits
死
in
んだ
there
って
to
言っ
have
て
a
た
cup
じゃ
of
ないで
tea
す
and
か。
read his paper. He wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly into the living room. Nothing. I walked upstairs to the bedroom. He wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. Then I had a shower. Whilst I was in the shower, the phone rang. I think it was Eric, his boss. I didn't answer it. Then I came out and I was just exhausted.
ほぼ同じ
So
頃
I
言
lay
って。
down on the bed and I fell asleep, but I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. I spoke to him. Then I called Simon's parents. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
実在の人。うん。
And the Glaziers. I worked there some weekends and Simon had a part-time job there too. That was Eric's generosity. He was always good at helping out other people's children. Simon was quiet, more thoughtful than the other boys. Even then, he had a sense of craftsmanship. Wasn't always rushing stuff. Boys that age are just running around like headless chickens most of the time. You know? Plus, he had that look. He looked like a fairy tale prince from one of my books.
怖えね。
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help?
あと何を検索すればいいか。イブも何個かあるんだ。もうで引っかかんない。20個は。
Yes, I'm fine. be sick again. This happens some days. I'm pregnant. This morning sickness. Yes. It was a shock.
花の方はね、妊娠できない
Never thought it was possible.
体になってしまったってなんか言ってましたよ
I
ね。
don't know what he. I mean, I hadn't decided whether to keep the baby. I wasn't really ready to talk to him about it. It's Rapunzel. The story starts when she's born. Mother Gothel, a witch, takes Rapunzel from her parents and keeps her locked up in this tower. Rapunzel gets pregnant by the prince, and Mother Gothel is furious, so she cuts off her hair and throws it. Actually, her hair's already short here, so that's already happened. But she throws her into the wilderness, and Rapunzel is reunited with the prince, who's blind, but she kills him with her tears, and so it's a happy ending. Is that too much?
なんか実績を。
A wig? You mean? But what type of wig? No, I've never worn a wig. What kind of wig?
イブとサイモンが不倫、そういうこと？
This was 9, about 9. I went round and she
イ
was
ブってもう何、他の第三者なのかな？
furious and so angry, the kind of anger you can only have towards yourself. We screamed at each other, argued, cried, we fought. I hit her back, left a bruise. I had my wig
あ、
off
双子っすよね。
tore it off.
なんか3人ぐらいなんかこういる感じがして、イブとハナと
I left.
あともう一人、その3人のうち2人が双子で、もう一つがちょっとよくわかんないみたいな。で自分はちょっと混乱したのが、双子はいるんだ、双子の設定あるんだけど、双子の一人が花で、もう一人は喋ってるこのどっちかで、髪結んでる方かあれか分かんないけど、でイブはなんかひょっとしたらもう一人なのかなと思って、実際に存在するイブと花はやっぱりあれかな。引っかかりやすいよね。
Suicide? No. I mean, he would never do anything like that. He is not the
7
kind
件
of person to
か。
do anything like that. I mean, to hurt himself? No.
うん、なんかもう一人そうなんですよね。そうそう、自分ここにいる人がね、名前謎な人が一人いる感じするんですよ。
She didn't kill you. You think I killed Simon because he was having an affair? Well, I didn't kill him. I wasn't even there. I was in Glasgow worrying about whether my baby was still growing inside me. I mean, why would I kill Simon? I loved him.
そうなのかな。わかんね
No, he doesn't have any tattoos. He has a scar, down here near his stomach, past his hip. Cut himself with some glass. That was before, a long time ago.
なるほど。
He looks just like the photo. He's not got his glasses on here though. He takes them off with the camera. But he needs them to see properly, you know. He has to read a newspaper or a menu in a restaurant. Not book so much, or watching TV. He likes TV. Oh, my tattoo. I got it to express my individuality. It's an apple and a snake. So I moved out. Got a small bed sit. Got my tattoo to mark the occasion. I was singing in a bar in the evenings, so I had some money, enough money to cover my rent. And I've been doing something similar ever since.
ああ、なるほ
I
ど。
haven't put down any moods.
それでイブか。
I don't exist. He saw me singing one of my shows, pure chance. Not sure I remember what he was even doing there. Afterwards, I had a drink at the bar and he came over and we got talking. I knew who he was. Obviously I knew who he was, but he didn't know who I was. He was fascinated by the likeness. He guessed my name from my tattoo. Told me it was a palindrome, like that would impress me. I enjoyed talking to him. It was amazing to be able to sit
誰だよ。
and
名前言え、
interact
名前。
and talk to him after all this time. He didn't tell me he was married. I'm not sure what he was thinking. He later told me it was like he was dreaming. A waking dream.
やばい、わかんなくなってきたっすよ。
Yes, we have arguments, but he never runs off. He always comes back. We make up. It's always that way. He saw me singing one of my shows. Pure chance. Not sure I remember what it was even about. And talk to him after all this time.
マジっすか。いやー、なんか、それは、なんか、良かったです。わかんねえ、マジで。ちょっと、検索キーワード、なんかなんか候補募集します、ちょっと。ガラス、フローレンス。いや、フローレンスは一回検索したんですよね。ガラス7個クリップあるんで、この後ろに2個隠れてるんですね。複合キーワードで検索しなきゃいけなくて。
He did. Well, we met when we were 17, both working at the glaciers.
フローレンスって助産師の人じゃなかったっけ？
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. The midwife was there to help.
記憶力は皆
I'd
さんいい
been
っすね。
throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead. But I wasn't.
なんでそんなことしたの？
She wrote all this stuff in a diary.
そういうことか。助
Amazing what
産師
people
の
will
人が
admit
嘘
to
を
on
ついて
paper.
親は一人しかいないって本当思ってたんだな。これ一通り見たやつですね。7月3日の告白シリーズ。7月3日で検索してくれりゃいいんだけど。あ、他ありますかね。でもなんかさっきのタトゥーのやつで、なんか出てきたやついたじゃないですか。なんかよくわからん男。サイモンとは別のやつやろ、これ。
He saw me singing one of my shows. Pure chance. Not sure I remember what he was even doing there. Afterwards, I had a drink at the bar and he came over
そうなの
and
か
we
な、
got
最初
talking.
離れてる期間もあったかもしれないですね。離れてる期間もあったみたいなこと言ってましたね。
Obviously, I knew who
で、
he
途中途
was,
中のストーリーだ
but
と、親も知らんのだ
he
け
didn't know
ど、
who I was.
なんか部屋の中に
He was
隠れてたりと
fascinated
か
by
してた
nerves.
り、で、交代で登場
Getting
し
a
た
note
りと
from
か
like
し
the
てるみたい
tube.
な言ってませんでしたっけ？屋根裏に
Told me it was a
ちょっと
perm
隠れ
joke.
て
Well, that would impress me.
生活したりとか。
I enjoyed talking to him. It was amazing to be able to sit
長い
and
年
chill
月を得
out
てって言
and
ってた
talk
から、
to
カール
him
のこと
after
か
all
な。
this time. He didn't tell me he was married. I'm not sure what he was thinking. He later told me it was like he was dreaming. A waking dream.
あ、これガールだ。カールは意外と少ねえな。
Differences? She's a better driver than me. She passed the test for us. I tried to take it and nearly crashed the car. Learned that you can't rely on confidence to get you through everything. She is the shy one. She was especially shy around
あ、
boys.
キモい話か、これは。はい、で。
Hannah liked a boy. I would have to pursue him. It was that way with Carl. Hannah met him first.
こうしたらイブでしょ。
She had
さっき
such
なん
a
か立つ
crush.
話したもんね。
I let him take my virginity after a night that his band had played at. It got difficult. When I was with Carl, we would have sex, but Hannah couldn't let him see she was a virgin.
確かに。
She had lots of excuses. After a while, we decided that I should take Hannah's virginity. It's not that different to a bruise,
これキモい話だ。
a graze.
キモいとかだけ。
We used a hairbrush. After that, we took it in turns, though. I was always the one who seduced the boys. Until Simon.
はあ。
No. I lost the baby.
これタトゥーしてない方
Miscarriage at 8 months.
で、子供を
Carried
妊
on
娠できな
living with Simon's
できない
parents until
ようになっちゃったって言ってたよ
that was
ね。
only a few months
さあこっちが花か。
Yes. I inherited it from my parents, so it made sense to move back. Me and Simon. Felt like going back to old ways before the pregnancy. Reminded me of being a girl, a dollhouse in the attic, old things. We didn't sleep in my parents' bedroom for a long time. We decorated it as soon as we moved in, but it was another year before we started sleeping there.
うん、なんか言ってた。
No. Well, yes. He found out on my birthday. I told him I was pregnant. 何これ。なんか来たぞチャットが。おお、なんだこれ。Can you imagine?
どういうこと。
I tried to get pregnant too, but it didn't happen. I slept with so many boys, men. My body refused. I think my period stopped because hers had. I was pretty ill. I mean, how could we stay the same now? Felt like Hannah had really fucked things up. Set us down separate paths. We had become different.
うわ、なんか出た。
I think it was that time, the first time at the house, in his bed, that I got pregnant. Amazing, right? This fucking magic sperm. And they say lightning doesn't strike twice. I didn't tell him. I missed 3 periods. I had pretty irregular periods anyway, but 3. I had always thought we were infertile. Both of us. I didn't tell him. Just waited. Hannah and I were meeting for our birthday, and I told her because I thought she would be happy for us both. I think she was.
ね。イブでは出ないよな。ああ。
Then my parents died. It was the worst year of my life. A miscarriage and then my parents.
そうだったんだ。
Yeah. They'd gone to bed feeling ill, thinking it was flu or something. The neighbour called me. I had to use my key to let them in. We found them dead in their bed. And they'd been there for days. No one had noticed. Just awful. It was so soon after my miscarriage. The worst year of my life. I'd been so happy to get married, and after that it was just like, fuck.
Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, I was infertile. Thought I was. They told me I was infertile after the miscarriage because of complications.
出産まで行ってねえんだよね。
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a mid.
ねえ、なんだろう。これ、終わったって言ったらどうなるんだろう。SB？ 終わったって言ってんじゃん。入力ができないってこと？これ入力のエラーかな？ちょっと待ってね、一瞬切り替え。あれかな？ 8 とかもう入れてないんだけどね。別のテキストに貼り付けてやんないとダメとか。あれ？貼り付けさえもできねえわ。まだはいけるんだ。ここが謎なんだけど。ああ、イエスって言えばいいのか。君のお母さんなんであんなことした？あんなってなんだよ。何の？じゃあ今見た動画の中にヒントがあったってことは全部。 サラって言ってるよ。サラっていたっけ？最初にサラ、なんかサラとエヴァで残してんだ。
I would have been a good mother. I was young, but I would have been a good mother. She was a girl, by the way, the baby. We were going to call her Sarah. Simon wanted to call her Ava after his nana, but I didn't want her to have a symmetrical name.
ちょっと待って。わけわかんねえな。娘？でも今のって、ちょっと待って、
I would have been a good mother.
良い母なれた
I
は
was
ず。
young, but I would have been a good mother. She was a girl, by the way, the baby. We were going to call her Sarah. Simon wanted to call her Ava after his nana, but I didn't want her to have a symmetrical
ああ、
name.
そういうことかもね。まあ、そうみたいやな。ちょっと待って、娘が知りたくなった。ああ、そういうことか。これは、だからあれか、イブの、花はもうね、子供ができなくなったもんで、イブの子供がサラか。で、サラが、要するに、見てね、ここ時計で見ると、今の、あれだもんね、これ多分23年、これ違うのか、23時ってこと？違うよね、これ6時16、わかんねえな、これ。23分か。まあでもなんかサラっていうのはイブの娘っぽいよね。ちょっと待って。混乱してる。16年6月にさ、そっかそっか。
She was a girl, by the way, the baby. We were going to call her Sarah. Simon wanted to call her Ava after his nana, but I didn't want her to have a symmetrical name.
なぜお母さんがあんなことをしたか。あれかな。お母さんはイブでしょ。イブがしやったんだ、じゃあ。でも、そっか。タトゥーがあるなはどっちだったっけ？イブか。やっぱこの人、この辺が全部イブか。そっかそっか。そうだね。あれ、ログオフして出てきてくれっつってたよ。ちょっと一回出てみようかな。えエンディングになっちゃった。やばい、真相がわかんないままあれだわ。闇に包まれたままだ。とりあえずイブがやった、何かをやったってことか。 でもあのチャットが出てくるってことは、一通り情報っていうか、こう直接的な情報なかったにしても、なんかヒントみたいなのあったわけよね。もうこの黒い服の映像は見てねえな。すげえ、完全に出演者この人一人で終えたな。でもすげえ制作者いる。すごいね。一番最後出てくるかな。一番とにかく守りたかったっていうか、あれよね。まあ、子供のことを考えて何かしたんだよね。殺したのかどうかは分からんけど。なんでサイモンやんなきゃいけないのかが意味わかんない。イブとのその子供ができたことが許せなくて、花がやった、やって、で、イブはその、なんだっけ、偽装したから、偽装したことを、告白してるって感じなのかな。いや、わかんねえわ、これ。
No, you're talking to the wrong person if you think I'm some kind of slut. If you think I'm the kind of person that would have had sex with all those guys. We loved our cat, Domino. He had this little bell around his neck to stop him from killing birds in the garden. And we used to write each other notes and put them in the bell, and we could send them to each other. Mum found some of the notes once, and she thought I was just writing to myself because our handwriting was identical. And we had our own words for things, so she didn't quite understand them anyway.
2分で結構投げる。
I'm not the world's greatest guitar player. Okay. Probably needs tuning. No, it's okay. How about a traditional ballad? Should be right up your street. Sisters came walking by the sea. Oh, the wind and the rain. The eldest one pushed the other one in. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. See, they both had a love for the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain, but he only cared for the youngest one. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, the eldest and
中曲。
Watched her as she slowly drowned all the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, she floated up and she floated down. All the wind and the rain floated till a ship came by. All the dreadful wind and rain. Out comes the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain. Father dear, here swims and swan. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And then it gets really weird, so I think that's a good place to stop.
怖いよ。どういう展開だ。え
When she went home, Simon had a birthday tea waiting. Afterwards, she told Simon about me, told him I was pregnant. She wanted me to move in with them, this sister he didn't know.
これ見た動画の数とか示してんのかな。
Simon never cheated on me. He was devoted to me, and I was devoted to him.
そうだと思った。
We were good to each other.
だサイモンがなんか反応したんだろうね。みたいな感じだったのかな。うわ。なので
Simon never cheated on me. He was devoted to me, and I was devoted to him. Nothing in life is easy. We were good to each other.
でも7月3日のなんか告白してるタイミングであれはイブだけど、なんか花はその時どこいるんや。意味がわからんな。入れ替わり。確かに引っかかるね。一応見たやつは見ちゃうやつか。サイモンがめちゃあるんだよ。52個あるから。サラはね、あったかな、そんなになかった気がするんだよね。サラとエヴァっつって検索、ここの中で言ってたよね。さっきやったもんな。でもこれはまだ出産する前の話なんだよね、多分。
told her it was one of my boyfriends, someone I had met in the bar. I think she was happy. But I could tell she was thinking, why couldn't it happen to her and Simon? They were the ones with the real life. Why not them?
何の話よ。
No, he was as shy as me. I asked a friend to ask him out for me. We had our first date at the Odeon in North End. We went to see Risky Business. I had on my one best dress. Simon paid, and he bought me a whisper, and I was worried about getting chocolate on my teeth. An affair. Simon wasn't having an affair. No, I have never been unfaithful. I've never cheated on Simon. You're reaching here, and I don't know why. No, I've never cheated on anyone. I've never taken anything from anyone. Simon is dead. But I have my baby to care for. Why are you trying to make me sad? Why are you so obsessed with sex and affairs? You cheated on your wife. Is this your thing?
わかんない。他に何を聞けばいい？
Hurt someone? Yes.
浮気だけ聞いてみますか。
Just wanna lash out. She's crying, I guess. She's
なん
sad
でサイモンがやられなきゃいけないの？
because
なん
she
か
saw
そ
her
の
husband.
イブと花同士で何かやるのは
But it's
わかる
okay
けど、
because
な
she
んで
finds
サイ
out
モ
it
ンが
wasn't
こ
her
うされなきゃいけない
husband,
んだろ
it was his brother. And so it's fine.
う。なんか危ない感じだったのかな。
Have I ever cheated on Simon? You asked that question yesterday.
ないからこれを聞いてるわけなんだけど、他になんかあるかな。動機がわかんないんだよね。そうなのかな。でもそうだったらさ、なんか冷静に花がさ、あの実は双子がいてイブに子供ができたから会わせたいんだけどみたいなこと言うかな。イブのことはいっぱい散りばめられてるから、なんかサイモンがよくわかんねえんだよな。52個もクリップがある。 なんかアプローチの仕方があるかな。
I think it was that time, the first time at the house, in his bed, that I got pregnant. Amazing, right? This fucking magic sperm. And they say lightning doesn't strike twice. I didn't tell him. I missed 3 periods.
花が
Hadn't told
話し
regular
かけ
periods
る
anyway, but 3.
最後に
I
こ
had
う
always thought we were infertile.
話そうって言った動画ちょっと残してなかった残しておけばよかったな。
Just waited. Hannah and I were meeting for our birthday, and I told her because I thought she would be happy for us both. I think she was. No. The parents decided there would be a wedding. And after the wedding, Hannah moved in with his parents. There was no way I could follow, so we were separated again. I stayed in the attic. It was hard. It's like I suddenly didn't exist. I would sneak out
それやってみます
in
か。
case anyone recognized me. I started wearing a
一
wig.
回その殺すっていう字だけであんまり出てこなかったん
I
ですよ
was
ね。
trying to get pregnant, but I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't do it with anyone we knew.
ああ、確かに11個ぐらいありますね。あ、なんか一個引っかかった。本当や。
I didn't murder Simon.
ああ、そっちか。
You've got it wrong. You've got the wrong person.
手がってる。なんかイラッとすんだ今。ああ。えああ、いいですね。残念、引っかかんなかったな。 ユーザーフライ。まあこれはもうこれであれなのか。エンディング見たけど、結局ここでその動画、正しい動画ヒットしたとしてもなんか変わるのかな。そんな言葉使うか。面白い。ボツ、ボツマス。でも凶悪犯罪。あ、でもその一つってことか。ああ。お、引っかかりました。
My sister is gone.
お、やっぱり消えたんだ。なんかいなくなっ
She's
た
never
感じしたも
coming
んね。
back.
なんで消えた？え、だから花がどっかいなくなったってことだよね。失踪とか。マジで。花やられた？
If one of us got hurt, the other one would have to be hurt too. A grazed knee, a bruise. When I lost my tooth first, we had to pull our harness to match. Once, I slept with a boy who was seeing another girl. The girlfriend came up to Hannah the next day and punched her in the face, gave her a huge black eye. That night,
大きいわけわかん
she
ね
had to do the same to me. But she almost went too far. I couldn't see out of that eye for days. She snapped a frozen piece up for me from the kitchen. So much of our bodies was synchronized anyway. We started our period on the same day. All our childhood diseases, stomach bugs, nits.
え。マジかよ。うん。別でいっぱいで。
Married couple stuff. A stupid argument.
6月18日あたりはそんな大したやつじゃなさそうで。
No one knows how to push your buttons better than those you're close to.
イブやっちまったのか？
It wasn't the present so much. It was
あ
one of those arguments
あ、
that
わ
had
かん
been
ね
simmering for a while. The present was a mirror, a nice mirror. He'd engraved the glass, the kind of mirror a princess would have in a story. He made it specially for me.
え。僕
Okay, she's being chased. They're trying to catch her because she did something bad. I guess she broke the rules. Or maybe they think she did something bad. Maybe it wasn't her fault. She looks scared, not guilty.
鏡やってないです。やってみますか？
Maybe it was mistaken identity. Did they catch her there? I don't know.
13個ありますよ。複合キーワードであれば、後ろのは引っかかるか
No,
も。
I can't remember. I put it somewhere safe. Upstairs, I think. I haven't looked at it since.
探偵女性当て。なんか実績解除されましたよ。いやね、そんないっぱい出てく
Yes,
る。
I read a lot as a child and watched lots of TV. Then the doll's house we had, we still
これはイ
have
ブ
the
の方ですよ
attic.
ね。
It's kind of a fairy castle.
屋
We
根
used
裏
to
行っ
play
たり
up
さ、
there
違
and
ったっ
make
け？
up our own stories. Could the hairs have come from somewhere else? I mean, could they... We have a lot of dolls in the attic. There's a Rapunzel doll with long blonde hair. Could they have come from there? I'm not sure where the dollhouse came from. I don't know if it was given to them or they inherited it. I mean, they wouldn't have had the money to buy it. It was so huge. It must have been taken up to the attic in parts and then reassembled up there. It's a beautiful thing. Wallpaper to scale, little furniture, the lights work, mirrors, beds, big duvets and pillows. We spent hours and hours playing in it, invented all these characters and families who lived there. We wrote paperwork from them all, passports, diaries, gave them all really elaborate stories. Once, a moth got trapped in there. We'd left a light on. It was making the most horrendous noise. We tried to kill it, but it was tough.
屋根裏やってみますか。
We ended up crushing it under a copy of the Arabian Nights.
これも10個引っかかりますね。
The legal stuff was completed very quickly. Hannah moved back in with Simon. Eric gave Simon a week off to help with the move. He decorated, modernised wallpaper curtains. Hannah insists the attic be left as it was, dollhouse and all. Simon never went up there. It lasted about 6 months. I tried to carry on, but everything was different. Hannah insisted I not pretend to be her around Simon, let alone sleep with him. We didn't share him like the others. The rules had changed. Me living in the attic had become weird, in a way it hadn't been before.
なんか怪しい話になってきたね。
No, not drugs. I mean, he drinks, but never very much. He goes to the pub and has one or two. Sometimes we go together. He drinks wine with food.
ちょっとやってみましょう。
No, he doesn't have any kind of drinking problem.
ほほやってみます。短いな、おい。3秒。紙で一応なんか7件あるんですね。かかりますね。
I was living in the attic. It was a very hard time. I was depressed, was still pretty sick of the STD. And I came down one morning and
彼ら
They were dead. They were in bed and both had been sick. They'd thrown up a lot. And I'd slept through it. The police said it was the mushrooms they ate. Dad was a mushroom expert. I mean, he used to take us picking with him and he taught us how to recognise them. And there's no way you would have picked death caps. But the police believe that's what happened. They never even looked in the attic.
彼らわかんねえ、マジで。あーやったん
Nothing else happened that night. We talked, then I said goodbye. Then next week I was singing in the bar again and there he was. And again the next week, he offered to buy me a meal. I told him I had already eaten, and so we got chips and ate them on the beach instead. When we said goodbye, he asked me to kiss him. Romantic.
これはカールのことか久しぶりに会った誰かだよね。あなんであのストーリーが急に入ってくるのかがマジでわかんね
It was
なん
my
で検索
birthday,
で
like you
動
said.
画引っ掛けなきゃいけない
We
の
were
か
going to have
上
a
に
meal
入
at
れかし
home.
まい
We
な
had our meal.
ゲームにならんか
Gave me his present. I guess I didn't like the present.
なんかプレゼント気に入らなかったってなんか言ってるよぐるぐる修行やね
About 8 years back. It was a present to myself. I shouldn't even be drinking coffee with the baby. It's been hard trying to give it up. I think they say you can have 1 cup. Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back. She put on my wig, some of my clothes, pretended to be me. They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me. Then he took out a present, another mirror, just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present. She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round. She cut his throat clean open. She'd only meant to scare him off.
そっちはどっちだ サイモンじゃなくて、なんかその男の子の方かな。鏡でさっき引っかかんなかったよね、さっきの動画。あ、13個あるからか。
I thought it made me sound suspicious. It's not a normal thing to do to drive to the other end of the country. I wanted to keep it simple. I know it was stupid not to tell you everything. Saying I spent the night in Glasgow when my husband went missing, I thought it would, distract you from what was important. It's different now. Now he's... Yes, it was a cremation
仮装
for the best. We both wore black and had veils, so it was easy. And after the funeral, everyone came back to the house. Hannah served up sandwiches, and I stayed out of sight.
いいですね。お、こう出てきました。
No. I'm not sure what Strange would be, but he hasn't been acting odd. He's been busy at work, but nothing too stressful. Bruce? Oh, yeah, no, it's nothing. I was going through the top cupboard in my kitchen, and the chair slipped, and I kind of hit the door with my face. I mean, it hurt like hell.
結構引っかかりますね。13って言ってる。
Coffee, I guess.
あ、
Milk and
服
sugar.
装がなんか違う。あ、7月2日か。
Coffee, I guess. Milk and sugar.
結構コーヒー引っかかる。
A black coffee, thanks. No sugar. I'm sweet enough as it is. Black, no sugar. Thanks. No. I've had enough coffee for today, thanks. Glass of water. Fine. I've never had my fingerprints taken before. I once put my hand on the oven.
いやー、まあでも結構見ましたね。うーん。まだいまいちわかんないな。ちょっとストーリーのつながりがわかんない。夜になんか夜な夜な話したなんか男の人のがカールなのか、サイモンなのか、殺すつもりでサイモンを殺したのか、事故で死んじゃったんだけど、それをただもみ消しただけなのか。花が消えた、理由もわからんし、どこ行ったのかも死んだのかもわかんない。この、これね、これ警察のちょっとシステム、モダナイズしないといけないやつね。まあ、ここにもコンピューターテクノロジーはこれから重要だっつって。まあ、ちょっとここまでに一旦しようかなと思います。まあ、ちょっと気になるけれども、また、あれですね、真相に迫るやつはまた別でやろうかなと思います。まあ、結構なんかみんなと話があるの面白かったですね。いや、そうっすよね。子供のことを思うんだったらね、なんか別に理由があるんかな。なんか矛盾してんだよな、なんか。まあ矛盾というか、噛み合わないというか、ストーリーが。そうそうそうそう。まあイブには子供がいるからね、二人で決めたって言ったもんね、子供のことをとりあえず大事にしようっていうことで。でもハンナは本当に合わせようとはしてたよね。その後の、だからその反応を見た後の動画が見たいんだけど、引っかかんない。そうそうそう、なんか SB って誰か知らんけど、そう、母がやったこと知れたって言ってたもんね。なんであんなことをやったのか分かったみたいな。あんなことってどれだよ。もみ消したことなのか、本当に殺したことなのか、花をやったことなのか、まだこの辺はちょっとあんなのが何を指してるのかちょっとよく分かんないよね。まあちょっと謎が、あの、深まりましたが。永遠にってことは死んだんかな。謎やな。おー、確かに、ここ見えないからね、どっちかわかんないよね。それは深い読みですな。いろんな想像が。これなんかホラー、ホラーチックなとこもあるけど、その怖さで寝れなくなるんじゃなくて、気になって寝れねえわ、これ。コーヒーに棒が刺さってるか、花、いけません。ああ、あれか。砂糖。ちょっとわかんないな。なんかどっちもブラックコーヒー頼んでなかったっけわかんないけど。まあまあまあ、ちょっとまた、じゃあ、そうですね。これ、再開するにしてもあれやもんな。今これ、例えば多分動画見ても、ログオフしたところでもうエンディングだから、さっきの、多分、これがもう一つの結末になっちゃってんだよね。コンティニューにはなるのか。 怖いわ。ああ、よかったですね。水さんにかかったら怖いですよね。ああ、危ない危ない危ない。あ、大丈夫大丈夫です。はい。いきなり登場人物になってたらもう完全ホラーやわ。そしたらもう完全寝れないよ。俺一人でやるのはちょっと怖いね、なんか。まあいいや、はい。まあちょっとね、またこの次、なんかこういう、今回なんだっけ、なんかおっさんにこういうのをなんか教えてもらって結構面白かったじゃないですか。なんか、なんでちょっと違うジャンルみたいなのもちょっと、いろいろやってみようかなと思いますわ。はい。バイオハザードだけ。ちょっと順番ね、今ね、ウィッシュリスト今、めっちゃ入ってるから。はい、お疲れ様。ありがとうございました。じゃあ、ゆっくり休んでください。じゃあ、またねー。